I'm hoping once I get this microphone boom come in that I'll be able to like actually, because as it stands right now, like I have to lean forward, especially with this little tiny ass desk. But
You know what I love is that you and Phil, who are the most active of the Foundation 4, are like buying all this equipment for it, and I'm still like using, like, I'm the channel owner and I'm using like books and microphones like every day. Phil bought $80 headphones to replace his old headphones, and he sounds amazing now. Like, it was a good purchase, but like I'm still I got these for $20. They were marked down from 25. And then the microphone I use is one that Neil just gave me because he bought a better one. And then I got some Robert Crayas books that mounted up on me so I can talk into it. My pen doesn't work anymore.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah Van Sliders, and you guys have tuned in for whatever reason to another horrible gaming podcast. This is episode 42, and with me is, as always,
Neil, aka Tiny Wizard.
And so you're here. Before we get into this podcast, we just have a couple of disclaimers. Although my kid is peacefully sleeping right now, and as long as that stays that way, we won't have to worry about that. But we pour everything into this. But this is it's as full time as we can make it right now. But just keep that in mind as you listen to the recording. Then, of course, a couple of credits. Mark Bell, thank you to him for all of the original graphics you see on the YouTube version of the show, on this and all the other shows that we have. And then, of course, thank you to my brother, Nicholas Van Sliders, who wrote and performed the theme song that you just listened to. And we, of course, thank him for that. He also is going to be doing all the theme music for our channel shows from here on out. So we're excited about that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so we open up the show with fan interaction. This is where we talk to you guys. We read your comments that you have posted on this here and in Discord and all the other places. We also decide the Horrible Arena winner from last week. And we ask you guys a question just to keep the conversation going with you guys. So let's get down to the Horrible Arena winner. Neil, the back and forth continues. The crown is returning to my head.
Oh my.
And I will explain how. First of all, Kevin, he voted via Messenger and voted for me. He did not give specific reasons, just said that I got his vote and that he was sorry he didn't comment. And I tell you, it's weird. Every time he doesn't have 3 comments on a video, I get worried for him. Just because it's good at this point. Then we did have a vote for you, which was Kayla. Well, we'll get to that part in a second. Her vote this week, even though they're similar, goes to Neil. We did have similar pitches. But just like I said, the differences won out. So P. Blaze, Phil Billy, voted. My vote this week goes to Zach's game solely for the custom character creation, which was mentioned. So I get the win, Neil. Another close one, but we're going back and forth right now. I don't know who's going to end up winning this thing at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's true. Because that's a thing that we are tracking now.
Oh, I've been tracking it since the beginning. I gotta actually, I haven't tallied up all the wins, but I have written down every Horrible Arena winner. Well, every Horrible Arena project name, the date it was pitched, and which one won that week. Since 1/29 was the first day we did this.
Oh, wow. So we've been going for almost 4 months now.
Yeah, almost 4 months. And I was wrong. For some reason, I thought we had started that before you were on the show full time. But while you and Logan were switching off, you were on the show technically full time when we started that. So there is a spot for you the whole way. So yeah, we've been doing this for some time now. I got a good notebook full of it right now. So for other comments, we switch back to Kayla. Our question was the boss that you like, that is a rage quitter, that makes you walk away from a game, or even the level. We would take that. But Kayla said, the one boss I can think of, I haven't even finished yet. It's the last boss of Far Cry New Dawn, which I have finished this game, Kayla. You're not missing much. It's not even that it's hard. It's just tedious and repetitive and honestly too pointless to complete. I completely agree. That game is a super letdown, super big bummer. I was super excited for it, and it was just not worth playing. Just wasn't. So what about you, Neil? What's your rage quit boss?
Well, I was coming more at this from like difficulty, not necessarily rage quit.
I'm sorry. I attached that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, more often than not, like that's what's associated with that sort of thing, is people like getting upset and just bouncing off of a game.
Right.
I actually have a handful of them, but I'm just gonna stick with 3 real quick. I would say the Sephiroth fight in Kingdom Hearts 2 is tough if you don't know what you're doing, but it's possible, and it's seriously one of my favorite fights in the whole series. Without getting spoilery with it, the Sans fight in Undertale on a specific playthrough, I will say, is immensely difficult, and it took me, I want to say, 3 months to finish. And it's actually kind of funny, the game for a while keeps count of how many times you die and says a little snarky comment to you before you start to try again. And the third one is actually a very recent one, because I just finished this game. Doom Eternal. The last boss in Doom Eternal just kind of takes everything that's been established on how you play the game and kind of throws it out the window. It's one of those bosses where it's just a giant thing in the background that you have to chip away at, not using any skill. It's the stuff in the surrounding environment that's the danger. And the worst part is it's got 2 phases to it. And the second phase is literally just the first phase again in a different area.
Yeah.
And and it's just like the difficulty from it is, like I said, from the environment. It was to the point that the only reason I finished the boss is I turned on the Sentinel armor, which I call it the "you suck" armor, basically. The game, if you die too many times on a boss, the game will say, hey, it looks like you're having a hard time with this. Here's this. And it basically turns on like easy mode. And that was the only way I was able to get through it. And even still, it was just not rewarding, not satisfying. The entire game up until that point was great.
That's a bummer. That's a real bummer. I hate it when the bosses aren't rewarding. Like,
yeah,
that's one nice thing. The ones that I'm gonna pick were very rewarding when I actually defeated them, but like right off the bat, they were tough. And I've got 3 of them. They're all from Monster Hunter World, all of them. The first one I'm gonna say was like the one that like made me wonder if I was good enough to play the game, and that was Nergigante from the vanilla Monster Hunter World. The first time you play through. This was before the Defender weapons. I was playing a bow character, and I died to this thing like so many times that I don't know. Like, it was just over and over and over again. And there was a point where I was like, I know this is towards the end. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm capable of doing this. The second one is Deviljho, also from Monster Hunter World, the first kind of free DLC monster. The time that this one was really rough for me wasn't the bow guy. I fought him pretty well with my bow guy, but when I went through for my second playthrough, I played with a hunting horn, and basically what I did was I knew that all of the monsters towards the end of the game are really weak to this weapon type, and if you kill Deviljho a bunch of times, you can upgrade his weapon to the max, and then you can really like destroy everything towards the end of the game. So I decided to go after him a little bit earlier than I should have, and just farm him, and it was the longest 3 days of my life. Actually, I was still doing a lot of playing around Logan at the time, so he can actually vouch for this because we would be on party chat while this was going on, and basically it would be like 1 in 3 times I'd kill him. The other 2, either he would kill me or I would get timed out. And when you get timed out on a monster hunt, because you only have 50 minutes to kill the monster, but think about that. Think about playing and fighting one monster for 50 minutes, and then it's just like, hey, you're out of time, draw, start over.
No.
Yeah,
Nope.
it was nightmare inducing. Like, and it was like 3 days of farming this guy to get this. And then I was right. Once I had that hunting horn, I was able to destroy the original game with little or no problem. But like those 3 days were the hardest repeated farming. And then when I got to Iceborne, which was a real bummer because I did all this like a couple of months before Iceborne because I wanted a whole new character to go into Iceborne with. And when Iceborne came out, it was a rude awakening because they really kind of changed the meta so that you really couldn't just like go in with one element type and whoop the crap out of everything. So I ended up against Barioth, which this ties into a little quick plug. Anybody watching On the Hunt should check out Tuesdays On the Hunt because me and Philbilly take on the Barioth for the first time, and you can see that monster still gives me problems. That thing, it's so fast, it's so scary, and that thing it would time me out or kill me every time. And like I had to go back, and because I hadn't farmed any other weapons, I had to go back and refarm a whole nother weapon and suit of armor to completely build my character to fight him, to beat him the first time around. So yeah, those are my 3 real difficult real difficult bosses, I guess would be the way I put it. So I guess we should ask a question there, Neil.
Yeah, I would say so. Do you have one?
Yeah, I got one. I definitely got one. I would want to know, and this is a little bit inside baseball, so I don't know how many we're gonna get to comment to it, but I know we'd have a lot to say. I want to know what indie developer, like of you guys out there, an indie game that you guys like, that you'd want to see oodles of money thrown at, like that developer to get AAA funding, basically. Whoever it is, I've got a couple in the barrel, but like somebody who's just makes these amazing indie games, but you know that if they were AAA, God, they'd be endless. They'd be blowing you away. Now that's what I want to know. What do you think about that one? I think that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right. So at this point, it's with a heavy heart. I have to bring about our first subject. And the reason it's a heavy heart is Kevin is getting excited somewhere because I am positive me and Neil do not share the opinion that on this of the sameness. So I'm going to go first because I'm going to be super negative, and that is the Unreal 5 tech demo that we all got to see, that everybody's just losing their freaking mind about, came out. And it was a big win for PlayStation. And I have a lot of negative feelings about this. Neil wanted me to go first, so I'm going to go right into them. Number one, I want to really hammer this home to everybody out there. The reason that this is associated with PlayStation 5 is marketing. It has nothing to do, like, this is not what you're only going to see on PlayStation 5. Unreal 5 can be run on PlayStation 5 or Series X. They can both run them. The reason that this is so heavily attached to PlayStation 5 is money. And that is 100% the truth. I want to hammer that home because I think a lot of people out there are look at how good PlayStation 5 is. No, that's everything. It's everything that uses Unreal 5 because that's an engine tech demo. It's not PlayStation 5 alone. Number two, I don't like how this is coming out. I feel like this was a very strategic move by PlayStation to mitigate some of the very negative rumors circulating around their system right now, being it's less powerful, being that it has design flaws, being that it will be a limited release, being that it will be extremely expensive for no reason. I think they are trying to mitigate that, and the way they're doing that is by throwing a lot of money at Unreal, and because they knew that a tech demo was coming out, and the whole like, oh, they're making leaps and bounds in SD technology, all of that stuff. I feel like it's all just like a, hey, look over here. Don't look at the system itself. Look at this thing that runs on both systems. Again, want to point that out, runs on both systems. Now, final negative point before I hand it over to Neil so that he can argue with everything I've just said. Number one is, this is not what these games are going to look like. This is a lie. All tech demos are lies. They are lies that they put forward to you to get you excited about things that are not going to happen. If you look at every tech demo that has ever come out for every console, there are always these huge, amazing, beautiful things. The game isn't going to look like this. This is a fireworks show. What they do is it's a 60-second chunk. So they take all the processing power, all of the equipment they have, and they put it into just that vertical slice, just that 60-second chunk, so that you can be truly wowed. A game that's going to have 40 or 80 hours in it, a game that's going to have an open world, is not going to look like this. They can't do that because the processing power has to be spread out over the whole thing. Now, while this will make it easier for developers to develop, I like some of that stuff. The fact remains, this tech demo is not what games are going to look like. So stop getting excited about that. This specific thing is not a game. It's never going to be a game. And that's why I don't get excited about these stupid things. So with that said, Neil, go ahead.
Okay. So what's important to keep in mind...
I'm going to try not to interrupt. I'm going to really try not to interrupt.
You're okay. What's important to keep in mind with all of this is what was shown was not a PlayStation 5 demo. I mean, it was running on a PlayStation 5, but this was an Unreal Engine 5 demo. So the fact that it's running on a PlayStation, I think, kind of has something to do with the fact that they might have some sort of agreement long-standing, because Unreal 4 was shown off on a PS4, I believe. PS3 or PS4. I can't remember when Unreal 4 came out.
I believe it was a PS4.
Yeah.
I believe it was a PS4. I'm not 100% positive, but I believe it was a PS4. And you're right. I think there is kind of maybe a long-standing history, but continue. I still think there was a lot of money, but go ahead.
I think the money that changed hands, though, was already a thing. Like, if they had a long-standing contract with Sony to say, hey, you're going to debut this on our console, I mean, if it was already a thing the last generation, it very well could have been a thing written in stone from that before. So I don't think tying Unreal 5 explicitly to the PlayStation 5 is realistic one way or the other. I mean, they've already said that it's going to run on the Xbox Series X also. So, I mean, it is a demo of that tech. When it comes to the graphics and everything like that, I mean, yeah, it's just polished up because, you know, you can put something out like that a lot quicker than a full-fledged game.
Yep.
But again, what is on display here is not the graphics, not like, oh, this is how this, that, and the other thing is going to work. It's the under the hood stuff.
You're not disagreeing with me right now. Kevin's getting very unexcited.
Yeah, but I'm coming at it from a different angle because I think a lot of everybody's thoughts surrounding this is PlayStation 5 only. Like, just because it was running on that hardware, it's explicitly tied to it, and that's not necessarily the case.
That's what's bothering me so much about the narrative about everything about this, honestly, is that it's so tied to PS5. Even IGN seems snowed on this. When they did their console watch, the headline was, look at how good the PS5 graphics are. No, it's everybody. It's everybody across the board. It's Unreal. It's an engine, not PS5.
Well, I think it's circumstantial though, because this was the first time that we really saw something running on a console.
Okay.
So that does taint the narrative to some degree, because of course people who aren't following this sort of stories, anything like that, are assuming, oh my God, these are the graphics for the PlayStation 5, like that's how it's going to be. And, we know that that's not how it's going to be. I mean, if you look at the Unreal 4 tech demo, it looked absolutely phenomenal too.
Right.
I mean, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing with it. If Unreal is going to develop something using their own engine, they're going to know what's going on. Obviously, when that starts getting handed out to different studios and developers and stuff like that, at that point, then that's when we're going to start seeing some features and everything being left on the cutting room floor. What I think this is really showing off is, hey, games are going to take advantage of stuff that we don't have to program anymore. So like they had showed the changes in the landscape with rocks falling and the light coming in. That's literally, they program the light, and whenever everything else reacts around it, then that's how things change.
Well, and that's exciting, because that means we might get faster games.
And then there's like the importing of cinema level textures and stuff like that. Like, that is a thing that can happen. But again, if you look back to the most recent, the Call of Duty remake that came out this past year, that on its own, even like it used it used like photorealism and stuff like that from actual pictures taken and imported in. But it's, from how it was phrased in the demo, there's not necessarily that you have to modify all those files. You literally just snap them right in. And that's awesome. That means we can get good looking games a whole heck of a lot faster. But I mean, I think the reason why this blew up as much as it did is because we are still so in the dark on these consoles. We know nothing. We're assuming that we're going to get some information here soon, because it's quote E3 time. Sony said the other day that they're going to be announcing their launch titles soon, whatever that means. Everything's just coming soon. But people are getting tied up in the hype and not thinking, about like, I feel like what it boils down to is, I'm hot on this for what it means for the future of games, not necessarily what was shown there in that demo.
And I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I think if there was one takeaway that was completely positive, in my opinion, was that ease of access, and the fact that our game development schedules we might actually be able to, we might not have to wait 10 years for sequels anymore. We might be able to get them, a couple of years afterwards. I mean, good sequels, not the ones that just get pumped out annually, but, those big games, we might be able to get, those games out faster. There might be less delays. Stuff like that really excites me, because that's something that I've had a problem with for a while. I don't like the way the games industry handles their release scheduling and their delays, and how they do that stuff. It bothers me. So I would like to see that improved via this tech test. That's for sure. I still kind of feel like this was a pulling the wool over their eyes. They couldn't have mentioned PlayStation 5 less. And they couldn't have tied this to PlayStation 5 less. And I still kind of feel like this was a move to mitigate some of the bullshit that PlayStation, some of the fire that they're under right now.
Yeah, I mean,
not to be the hot take guy, but
I still think, actually, a little side note, the whole reason why I was kind of taken back by that just in that moment was we managed to not curse at all so far. And I thought we were going to make it through without one.
We haven't cursed?
I don't think so.
Holy.
Well, now that it's out there, fuck. So
fuckity fuck. Well, we're definitely outside a minute. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that the whole PlayStation association with Unreal is just I think that was happenstance. The fact that they had already signed this deal, they were already in bed with Sony before that, and then Sony may have leveraged that, but they leveraged that pre-existing agreement with
I don't know about that. I still hate to put on my conspiracy theorist hat, but I think it's pretty damn coincidental that these guys have been under fire for the last 4 months, and then all of a sudden a tech test comes out where Unreal can't stop talking about PlayStation 5 and how great it is. Like I mean, look, do I think that they were ever going to show it on an Xbox? No. They were probably always going to show it on a PlayStation. But the fact that they mentioned it like 3 times, and then they had all these comments afterwards saying that PlayStation's this and that is so far ahead of everything else, I feel like PlayStation went to them and was like, we need you to really talk up the PlayStation 5 in this tech test. I really do. I think this was we need this. We need a win, and we need to get it off this other company's win.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I do, damn it.
I left my tin foil downstairs, so I can't really put the hat on right now. But yeah, I mean, it could very well be that, but that's just not the vibe that I'm getting from it personally.
Yeah. I don't know. That is the vibe I 100% got from it. I don't like the timing of it or the way it is, and I definitely don't like that every media outlet covered it as the PlayStation 5 graphics instead of the next-gen graphics. I feel like that was real. Like, look, I don't want Xbox to win. I don't want PlayStation to win. I'm an Xbox guy. Just because of the services that they offer is a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit more fan forward. And I don't particularly like the games on PlayStation enough to make me transfer. That being said, I want both these systems to do good. I want anybody to play anything the way they want to play it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to say that up front. But, you know, it's our job to comment on these two companies and their competition. And I thought this was, just as I said, it was a misstep when Microsoft did their Inside Xbox, their first 20 for 20, I think this was a big old trick. Maybe it's the cynic in me. But I feel like this was a big old trick.
Forever the skeptic.
I am forever the skeptic. I don't know. I got real trick vibes from all of this. Still, again, like you said, we didn't. I am excited about a faster, like the technology and anything that makes a developer's job easier, which those guys, they work so hard for what they do and they don't get the payment or scheduling that they should get for what they do. Like anything that makes their job easier, I'm all for that. I just did not like the way that this was represented in the media at all. Just wasn't represented honestly at all. Regardless of the trick thing, they shouldn't have tied this so much to PlayStation 5, and they certainly shouldn't have covered it the way they did. You can argue with me. You're allowed. I'm not going to kick you off the show. I'm out of co-host at this point. If I kick you off, it's just me screaming conspiracies. And that's no fun.
That's true. We already have too many of those people in the world. Yeah, I mean,
Alex Jones of video games.
Yeah, I'm just hung up on that image now. I can't remember what I was gonna say. I can't. That's it. I'm locked down now. I can't.
Right. Well, we can move on. We've got other stuff to talk about. I think we've covered it. I don't think either one of our positions is going to change on that.
I was about to say. I mean, we'd also probably be saying the same things over and over
again. Like I said, this is the reason I'm scared to ever do a show where we just argue about games of service, because it would be like both of us would make one good point in the first 2 minutes, and then it would just be us screaming that point at each other for an hour and a half. Okay, well, let's cover that. I think we can both agree that it's good for developers. I mean, we don't agree. I think it shouldn't have been covered the way it did, but still, I think we can agree it's good for developers and it's good. Again, though, just pointing this out one last time, Unreal 5 will work on every system, and what you saw in that tech demo will not be what games look like. That's the nicest they can ever look if they're only 60 seconds long. Just want to throw that out there one last time so that everybody out there, because nobody else seems to be saying that, and we get 25 viewers, so at least they'll be in the know.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so next topic of discussion is the surprise release date and announcement of Paper Mario. It's coming out next month, man.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, July. It's July, right?
Yeah, it's July.
So a month and a couple of weeks. Nintendo out of nowhere dropped this. There had been some rumors that there was a new Paper Mario game coming. It had been attached to that whole news story about all the remasters coming, but it was kind of far down the list. I don't think anybody expected them to announce it and give a release date less than 2 months away, given the current world situation. I think that's really freaking amazing. That's what's really blowing me away.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm more excited not for the Paper Mario game itself, but those Mario remake collection that was supposedly tied to it. Because, I mean, I've said before, like, I want a good old-fashioned Paper Mario RPG, just like the first one and the Thousand Year Door. From there, they just kind of started going off the rails and trying new stuff. And, hey, you got to innovate some way here and there. But, like, totally upending the formula literally every single game, like that seems a little bit much in my opinion. But now that we know that this Paper Mario game is real, then those Mario remasters might also be real. And that's that, like I said, like that's the biggest thing that I'm most excited about is those Mario remasters. I mean, this new Paper Mario, the Origami King, looks okay. Like,
looks good,
but it very much looks very Paper Mario. But I wanted to see like what the combat was going to entail. Really. Yeah, like you saw, there was like one single brief shot or two with the combat, and it looked like it's like a 3-dimensional combat, like you can get attacked from behind and stuff like that, which is cool. But like I said, like when you change these games up every single time they come out, you don't know what to expect when you're getting into it. And I feel like, so either they're kind of keeping that somewhat shielded for now to like have more to reveal later, or maybe they know that that's something that people don't like and they're trying to hide the fact that they're going to change it up. I don't know.
I personally, I think Paper Mario is one of those it's not the blockbuster as far as the series goes. I think it's obviously a solid earner. That's why they keep making it. But I think that's why they keep changing it up. I think when this game hits a hit, like out of the park, nails it, like like Breath of the Wild or Odyssey or something, I think you'll see that system from that point on. So I hope that's what this is for it, and I would really like to see the return to the RPG mechanics. We haven't had a good Mario like RPG style game since really the last Paper Mario, not the last Paper Mario, but the first Paper Mario. So it's been a while. I'd love to see that return to form. I still think it's really impressive that they are releasing a game this big so close to the quarantine. Like I think that has to get a nod of some sort.
I'm thinking that, like, I think the biggest thing is you already alluded to is the fact that this game, it kind of got leaked, but we have not only it officially announced, but it's coming out in 2 months.
Right.
Like, I feel like we need to get back to that because, like, we've got all these games that they're announced to be in development and, like, well, when is it coming? Shrug. Like, I mean, even Cyberpunk got teased how many years ago? 7 years ago that it was being worked on. And we're just now finally getting it at the end of this year.
And it's already been delayed twice. I think the other problem I have is what they're doing now, instead of giving you hard dates, they're giving you these release windows. God, what a load of bullshit is that? I mean, we talked about it in the last subject a little bit. I don't know how much in depth we should go into it here. I feel like it could be its own topic, but I do not like the way the games handles their releases, the way they build hype, and the way they set dates. It's just infuriating to me. And I think, and while I'm going to say this right up front before I say what I'm about to say, because I know I'll get a little hate, I want a game to be finished. I always want a game to be finished. If you can't finish it by the date, you should definitely delay it. The problem is, I still don't think these game companies should get a pass when they delay. I mean, it's like when they delay, everybody just gives them a pass. Like, oh, well, they need to finish it. That's okay. Just take your time. No, they should not be lying about their dates and getting a pass like literally every time they do it. It's really frustrating to me that nobody's holding them accountable in any way, shape, or form. Do I think that they should release a broken game? No, I don't think that. But there's got to be something to be said about them constantly saying these dates before knowing if they can make it or not. Like, it's like they're just throwing dates out or times. And I really like to see a game being announced, and it's 2 months away. It'll build hype steadily till it comes out, and it'll sell good. Nintendo's got a good thing going with this stuff, and I feel like this is going to be another big hit for them, especially since we have been saying, even on this show for weeks now, you know, what's Nintendo doing this year? What are they going to do this year? Now we've got Harvest Moon is coming at some point this year, and we've got this. So, and we had Animal Crossing. So already they've got 3 games. One of them is definitely going to be in Game of the Year Game of the Year conversations at the end of the year. Regardless of what you feel about Animal Crossing, for you or anybody else out there, that game is the best it could possibly be. It is going to be a discussion at the end of the year in Game of the Year award nominees, you know?
Yeah, I mean, also, I mean, given the fact when we're just talking about Game of the Year, like all of the other big games that everybody's been looking forward to, I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, Doom Eternal came out, and those are definitely going to be in the running, I believe. But, like, we are going to be going through a dry spell here soon, though this Paper Mario game is going to break that up a little bit.
Yep. And Nintendo's had perfect timing with their releases. The Animal Crossing could not have released at a better time. And I don't think they expected how good it was going to be, but you know what I mean? Like, and that game has sold more than any Animal Crossing game combined before it, which is kind of crazy to me. But I think we covered the Paper Mario. I know it's a short topic, but we do want to get to our new Odds and Ends segment. We had a lot of fun with that last week. So unless you want to add anything to the Paper Mario conversation, we can move on.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Pause.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right. So that brings us to a new kind of wow. Train hit the mountain on that one, Neil. Sorry. A new segment. There's that word that I couldn't say 2 seconds ago. We're going to do this when we can. Basically, me and Neil have found that we are both loquacious people and tend to be a little overly chatty when we get excited about things. We always like to have 3 topics on the show before, but sometimes we just can't do it. So we wanted to stop bumping the 3rd topic. So what we have done is it's odds and ends. In between topic number 2 and Horrible Arena, we're going to do odds and ends and just talk about anything in gaming that's exciting us right now for whatever time we have left over after the first 2 topics. And we're both excited about it. We did this last week, and we had a lot of fun with it. So we're going to keep doing it today. So do you want to start off, or do you want me to? Because I have like 5 things I want to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead. You can start off, because I don't think there's really been all that much that I've really been crazy about this week.
Oh my God, I have so many things. Number 1, with a bullet, since we always talk about it on this show, Anthem is dead, guys. Just want to let everybody know you can officially trade in your copies. It is not going to be a thing, and I'm very frustrated about it. They released recently. They talked about the new director of the head of Anthem, whatever, moving forward. He posted out a tweet about where they are, and they are so abysmally behind with understanding, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be given the situation, but they only have a 30-person team, which with what they have to undertake, and here's the thing, I wouldn't be saying this if we weren't about to see next gen systems. Wouldn't be saying it. I'd be saying take your time, get the game right, and really and do the update when you need to. But Anthem Next, they've said we're just now in the incubation phase. They only have a 30-person team, and next gen systems come out in 5 months? No one is going to be talking about the rebooted Anthem when the next gen systems come out. And when the next gen systems come out, nobody's going to be playing Anthem anymore. Like, there's not going to be a reason to move up to them. The reason Destiny survived the Switch was because they had already revamped their game, which I don't know if anybody remembers. Destiny, when it first launched, was kind of a failure. They had already revamped their game. By the time Xbox One had come out, people were excited about it. And that's why it did so good on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. If you can't get the 2.0 out before that, what's the point?
Well, I almost wonder, though, like, what if they are taking this time right now in this incubation period and everything that's going on? You have a smaller team, you plan everything out a whole lot more. What if this might be kind of shitty, but like, what if they're planning to launch Anthem 2.0 as like a next gen title? Like, what if they're making Anthem 2 but is like actually the first full release of Anthem? It almost makes me wonder if that might be what they're doing, given that they've already had so much time.
I think it would be a mistake. I think we said it last week that if Anthem is not at the state of play and we don't have any concrete release date by then, it's a done deal. And this tweet basically solidifies that we're not going to have anything at state of play. I hear what you're saying, and while I think that would be cool, there is nobody else out there who does. Like, it's got so much bad blood running to it, you can't re-release it and call it a day. You have to like revamp it and let the groundswell happen. Let the people who are in the game get people back into it, and that's how you get people back on.
Oh, you mean like the 5 people that still play it?
I still own that thing. I still boot it up every once in a while. And I'm not saying it's a good game. Again, I'm not saying it's still a game, but they still do have a community. They still have YouTube videos coming out for that community. There are still people playing it. Not a lot, but still a few people playing it. You can't, if you repackage that as a whole nother game, nobody's going to buy it. They're going to be like, yeah, whatever. They're not going to touch it. What you need to do is you need to give the people who have the game digitally and haven't touched it, or give the people who have the game physically and haven't traded it in, a reason to put it back in their system. And if they have a new system, they're done. You see what I'm saying? Yeah,
but that almost, if they do that, that almost makes me think that they very well could do something that I've alluded to. It was a couple months ago when we talked about this, whenever they first said that they were going to be revamping Anthem. Okay. What if it is like a No Man's Sky situation and the game now goes for like $4 or $5 used? You pick that up, you have it, but then when this new update rolls out or whatever, then that price of that game shoots back up to $60 once it's, quote, good again.
That would be great. But I'd like to point out that No Man's Sky's turnaround did not come during a console generation launch.
Right. And that is a huge difference.
Yeah. It came during the life of a normal console, and it came back when people didn't have as much to play. When this console launches, people are going to be inundated with games. And they're going to be looking at the future. They're not going to be looking at the past. You can't have a game from last gen suddenly break into the next gen. I just don't see it happening. I think if Anthem was doing what they were doing 2 years ago, they'd be fine. But they're not, and that's the problem. But still, it could go either way. I would love them to come back. I really would. There is still fun things in that game, and if they could build on the fun things and take out all the crap, I would be so excited and very happy about it. I just don't see a 30-person team still in the incubation phase with the next gen coming being able to pull it off.
Yeah, probably not.
So I have other stuff to talk about, unless you have.
No. Keep like I said.
I don't
really
want odds and ends as a segment to just be me prattling off things, just for future reference.
Yeah, no, I'll have to I guess find things and chamber those for when we record, because I don't really, usually the things that I do find we wind up talking about on our Discord.
We do. Yeah, that's true. We do talk about them on our Discord, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about them here. Not everybody's in our Discord.
Zach, that is a perfect opportunity to try to get people into our Discord.
People should join our Discord. The link is in the description below. You can influence all of our shows. The other thing I want to talk about, I just want to give a quick shout out to two games. One is the Friends of Ringo Ishikawa on Switch is one of the coolest games I've ever played in my life. And I just want to give that shout out to that game.
What is that?
Okay. I don't want to, I didn't even know about it, and I accidentally saw a YouTube video. Like, a YouTube video started auto-playing on a different account that I have about top 25 indie side-scrolling beat-em-ups. And the reason was I had watched some Streets of Rage thing on that. And he was going through them, and they all looked – the guy had a real loose definition of what a brawler is. A lot of them were platformers. But this one popped up, and it was just – it is – okay, so it's old Sprite. It's sprites and pixels, right?
Uh-huh.
But you play this – you play a character, Ringo Ishikawa, and he is like a Japanese schoolboy, but he's head of a gang, like a Japanese street gang, basically. And what you have to do is it's like a life simulator. Like, so you have to go to school and you have to get smart and you have to find a job, but at the same time you have to manage your gang, which is just basically like going around beating up other kids. It's so much fun. And I just want to say right now, anybody who's going to run out and play it, you're going to hate it for a little bit. And the reason is there's no direction. And so few people have played this game that there's no real, like, really conclusive guides without just watching a walkthrough, and I didn't want to spoil it for myself. So it's very hard to figure out what you have to do and what you should be doing. I got beat up a lot. But once you figure out the main, like, way the game is played, it's great. It's just so great. I'm having so much fun with that. Number 2 game I want to shout out, Legends of Runeterra is the best collectible card game in digital form, possibly ever in physical form, that I've ever played. And I've played a lot of card games. I've played Original Magic. I've played Legends of the Five Rings. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! I have played Hearthstone. I've played Eternal. I've played tons of them. I played the Fable one. This game is absolutely the gold standard in CCGs. And if you like collectible card games, you owe it to yourself to download this game for free on your phone and try it. It's just so good. It takes a little bit to get the hang of it because it's the way they did the rules is kind of you have to think about card games in kind of a different way. But once you start to get your brain into that mode, it is absolutely the best card game that I've ever played. And that's a lot of years of card games, guys. A lot of years of card games.
I might have to check it out.
You should. You really should. The coolest thing about it is, like, just to give you a quick idea, basically the way they made it more strategic is, so you both draw a card at the beginning of your round. Then much like Hearthstone, you have this increasing pool of kind of like mana power that you can spend to cast spells and summon characters. The thing is, though, is you can only attack every other round. Yeah. And I know that seems like, okay, so what? But it's huge. Like, when you think about, like, playing like Magic, but you have to consider you can't attack this round. You have to attack the next round. You can't just blitz the other person. You can't. It's impossible. You have to strategically figure out when's the best time to attack. Plus, it gives them this time to set up their stuff and gives you this time to set up your stuff. You can't just win in a round or two. You have to actually really play the game every time. It's so good. The other cool things is you can't block, you can't double block a character. You can't also double attack a character. You can only have 5 characters on the board at any one time. You have to replace a character if you put them out. So you have to like really consider what you have out there. It's so good. They just brought the pacing right to where it needs to be. And to make a game, like there's luck in it. Of course there's luck in it, but there's just so much strategy to it that it feels such less luck. And if you comprise your deck well, you'll always have a card you can play. And then it's really up to like where you play them and how. It's just so good. It's so good. I very rarely play a card game where it's not just deck construction and luck that beats the other person. This one it isn't. It's how you play the cards and when you play them. And it's, oh man, it's so good. I cannot say how good that game is. I think IGN gave it a 9 out of 10 too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it got good scores. It got good scores. And then I guess since Odds and Ends has been about me just ranting about games I like right now, I also want to point out anybody playing Super Mario Maker 2, I'm actually building a lot of worlds there. I never wanted to buy that game. I bought it for my wife because she loves Mario. Never thought I'd play it. I ended up going into the World Maker, and now I have a whole Mario world that's out there that's getting likes and stuff.
Oh, that's excellent. I'll have to try to stop into what you got there.
Yeah, man. I've got a whole world to play, and it's a lot of fun. I actually stumped my wife on it, too. Like, she was like, you beat this? Because you have to beat it before you can upload it. And I was like, I did.
Yeah.
In fairness, I know where everything is, but I did beat it. And she was like, wow, that was impressive. So I'm kind of excited because that's the only game she play other than the Prelude to Divorce stuff that we force her to play. So. All right, well, that concludes any odds and ends I have. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or you want to just move on to Horrible Arena?
No, I think we should probably just head on to the Horrible Arena.
All righty.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, that brings us to the main event, everybody. It's the moment you guys have been waiting for. It's Horrible Arena time. If you've never listened to the show before, the Horrible Arena is how we like to finish the show. What is it? Well, myself and Neil and any other co-host that's here, we get a predetermined quality that we have to then use to pitch a game. Maybe it's a sequel to a game, maybe it's a genre, whatever. We then pitch the game to you guys, the fans. We pitch the title, we pitch the developer, and then we give you an elevator pitch of what the game's going to be like. Then you guys out there get to decide which one you'd spend your money on, and you can do it in all the places. So we've flipped the quantum coin, and I have come up aces, so I get to go first. Are you ready for this, Neil?
Absolutely.
All right. So the pre-existing quality for everybody else, for everybody out there, is we are both Sonic the Hedgehog fans. For better or worse, usually worse. We have both seen the Sonic the Hedgehog movie finally, which we both enjoyed and disliked at the same time. So in honor of that, we decided, since the Sonic franchise is a nightmare hole of bad games, we decided how we're going to pitch a game to save the Sonic franchise. So each one of us is going to pitch to you a Sonic game. You guys have to decide which Sonic the Hedgehog game you would spend your money on. So, for me, I'm going to go crazy on the developer. Yeah, real crazy. I am not going to – it's, of course, going to be an association with Sega. It has to be. But my developer is the Coalition. My Sonic game – here's the problem with Sonic. The problem with Sonic, since it went into the 3D world, and even kind of when it was in the 2D world, is you want to go fast. That's the whole point of the game. It hamstrings Sonic. It's why Mario is so successful, is he can be anything, whereas Sonic has to be fast. If Sonic isn't fast, nobody wants to play it. Nobody wants to be part of it. period. So Sonic is hamstringed by this superpower, especially since going fast in games is nearly impossible. When you're actually going fast, it feels good, but if you put any sort of challenge in there, like having to dodge or hit something, then it becomes about muscle memory, doing it repeatedly over and over again. You can never get it in the first time, and that always irritated me. Why am I telling you all the things that are wrong with the Sonic? Well, I'm going to pitch you why I'm going to make a good game and why the Coalition is behind it, because my game is going to be turn-based strategy. Okay, I know what you're saying. How is that fast? That's the slowest thing it could possibly be. So the turn-based strategy will not be just about fighting and defeating enemies. What it will be about is the movement itself. You will get fast glimpses of each section of the level. Not long glimpses, because you've got to be fast. That's the whole point. But quick ones. Somebody will show you the thing. You'll get 30 seconds, and you'll be able to pick how Sonic moves through it, where he jumps to, what he grinds off of, who he hits, how he moves to the next section. You'll go through that section for that 30 seconds. Then when the timer's up, you get to just watch the coolness. Sonic flip-flop back and forth, run around, hit things, all that fun stuff. Same with the bosses. The boss can just be this ongoing, how do I hit it? How do I attack it? That way you can make all these really cool things that would make Sonic really fun, such as the world challenges, the moving back and forth. How do I move from point A to point B? Make it this strategy-based puzzle game that's reliant on quick thinking, and you would really get the feel of Sonic. You get to enjoy that without having to be grinding on a rail and just not know there's a bug coming, get hit, knocked off, and die. That kind of stuff always was really, it's like pulling teeth, it's like ripping at the fingernails. That's that kind of feeling that this completely eliminates. And the Coalition did really good with Gears Tactics. I have not gotten to play it, but I've watched a lot of playing of it, and they had a really interesting flow to their real-time strategy, which is why I didn't pick Fraxis. It's not grid-based. This would have to be this kind of constantly moving real-time strategy thing. It would almost feel like a rhythm game in a weird way. So that's my game. And I don't know what I would call it. The only thing I failed to come up with was a title. I'm just going to say Sonic RTS for now. So that's my pitch, Neil.
All right. Definitely. That was not what I was going to pitch. That's
I knew
different.
it wasn't. I knew it wasn't.
They did make a Sonic RPG though, on the DS, right?
It was terrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was terrible for all the reasons that it would be terrible. It's too slow. You need it to be slower while being fast, and I think that this would do that.
Yeah. All right.
I hope you in the audience didn't just hear me say RTS and turn your brains off, because I tried to pitch something interesting.
No, I'd give it a shot. I mean, granted, RTS isn't my thing, but I mean, it could work. I feel like it would work as a mobile platform game.
I really should have used John Wick Hex. That's what I would want it to look like.
Yeah.
That one, I really should have used that as an example. I don't know if you saw anything on that game.
I know of it. I've not played it though.
I want to play it, but it's not for any consoles that I know of. All right, well, it's your pitch, so I'm going to shut up. You take it away.
All right, so mine's really going to be simple, straightforward. Christian Whitehead Studios, the ones that did all of the Android and iOS ports of the Sonic games, and notably the ones that did Sonic Mania, would be heading up this project. And it is super simple. I don't even have to take a lot of time to really pitch it, because it is just Sonic Maker. Make a Sonic course. You can pick your background. You can pick your assets from any of the games. You can pick your music. They'll probably have I would say it would be like a very rudimentary music editor to slow things down or mix stuff together. Place the pieces where you want them. Place the enemies where you want them. You can take a boss and take all these different parts of a boss that exist from across all the games and mush them all together, or you can just remix the old levels. And I think I would call that Project Chaos. And let me tell you, I would buy that up in a heartbeat. I honestly, when Mario Maker came out, I was like, wow, this is a great idea.
Yeah,
They should implement this across all these other games. And I thought they were going to do a Zelda Maker with the remake of Link's Awakening.
That would be amazing. That'd be so amazing. I can't even begin to say how amazing that would be.
But yeah, that's literally straightforward, straight up and down. That's my pitch. Like, there's nothing else
That's a good
to
pitch.
I mean,
okay, I'm gonna say right now, I would buy mine before yours, for the only reason because I want Sonic to be a contender. I want it to be up there with the Marios, and I don't think it's ever gonna be. It's the same like Mania was great, but Mania was just the old games. It's never going to be up there until it's up there, until you find a way to break it into that big, what am I looking for? The AAA thing. It's just not going to be a contender. He's going to be in obscurity until you can find a way to make him 3D. You just got to find a way to make him 3D. I will say, though, your idea is freaking phenomenal. These are two great pitches, in my opinion. Just two great pitches. I think you'll get it, but two great pitches.
they were.
They're so good. They're so good. And I just want to say this phrase, Streets of Rage Maker.
That would be interesting too.
That would be so
anything, honestly, anything maker. Anything maker.
Allow me to make a video game as easily as you allowed me to make Mario games. Like, that's what I love, is like, I don't have to be I can make a level on there and it's perfect. Like, the only thing I want is more options, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Okay, so that's it. We're down to the shameless self-promotion. Neil, you got anything to shamelessly self-promote?
No, sir. Outside of Streets of Retro, we'll be going up again tomorrow. Yes, because today is Wednesday. Yes, tomorrow.
Remember, this doesn't come out till Friday, so we'll have.
I'm thinking about the now.
Thinking about the now. I'm thinking in the present. Neil's a present day thing.
Depending on how you want to look at it, it is either coming out tomorrow, today, or was out yesterday, depending on your platform.
It is. It truly is.
It really makes
the audio. It's not out yet. If you're listening to the YouTube, it's already out. All right. So other than that, you can reach us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. Of course, join our Discord. The link is in the description below. You can influence all of our shows from there. And we just love to hear from you, even if you're weirdos. We actually prefer the weirdos, to be honest. And with that said, I think we're done, Neil. So that was another great show. We'll see you guys next week. As long as you guys keep watching and listening, we will keep making these for better or for worse.